Well, look at this. Here's something you don't see every day. Someone dropped some broken pieces of countertop here, and we could do a geology lesson from them. Look at this. It's a beautiful pink granite. Look at these coarse grains of pink feldspar. That would be a potassium feldspar called microcline. And then in this matrix here, there are some gray grains that are different flavor of feldspar. That would be a part of the plagioclase family of feldspars. So those are the calcium sodium feldspars in the gray here. And then there's also some quartz, some kind of clear quartz in here. And then these black minerals are the black mica called biotite. So this is a nice piece of polished countertop that got dropped off here, but it's a beautiful pink granite. I've seen rocks like this in central Texas. This may be where this is from, the what they call the Llano uplift. The enchanted rock granite looks an awful lot like this. Here we are in the village of Columbia on the north bank of the James River along Highway 6, right on the border between Fluvanna and Goochland counties. And we're here at the Cowherd Quarry, C-O-W-H-E-R-D. This is probably one of the most visited field trip stops in Central Virginia for geologists. If you read field trip guidebooks in your spare time, you'll find many guidebooks that have described this location. But it's an old dimension stone quarry. You can see up there on the wall that quite a bit of rock has been taken out of here. When I say dimension stone, that means the rock was taken out as blocks. It wasn't used as crushed stone. It was used as blocks for construction. An awful lot of the buildings around here have stone foundations that are made out of this material. Also, if you travel up and down the James River, you'll know that the bed of the CSX railroad is laid on the towpath of an old canal that ran along the north bank of the James River. That canal was started in the 1820s down in the Richmond area and made it up through here, Central Virginia, I think around 1840 or so. But here in the village of Columbia, the Rivanna River meets the James, and there was a canal on the Rivanna built, I think, by Peter Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson's father, even before the James River and Kanawha Canal. But anyway, the canal required locks and aqueducts, and the historic structures, both those locks and those aqueducts, you can still find them along the river here. The railroad actually crosses some of those old structures, and many of them on this stretch of the river are made from this Columbia granite from this quarry and other quarries like it, both on the north and south sides of the river. Let's take a look at the rock here. You can see it's a gray granite with these black streaks in it. The gray is quartz and feldspar, and the black streaks are aligned grains of biotite mica, that black mica that we mentioned earlier. Just like the folds we saw at the Toadier Creek Reservoir were aligned toward the northeast, this mineral lineation in this rock is aligned northeastward. And we see that in many of the geologic structures in the Piedmont of Virginia. They point northeast. If you look at a geologic map of Virginia and find the village of Columbia, you'll find that this granite actually underlies a good part of Central Virginia. It, as we demonstrated earlier, injects the volcanic rocks of the Chapawamsek Formation. This just happens to be a really good spot to see this rock well exposed. But just about a mile and a half east of Columbia on Route 6, on the north side of Route 6, you get a good look at some outcrops of diabase, not just boulders, among the cedar trees here. All right, well, let's cross the road here and have a look. Big wall of diabase here. You can see how rounded it looks. Remember, we talked before about how it weathers into these rounded shapes. There's actually a name for that, spheroidal weathering, because it has no internal structure whatsoever. The mineral grains are arranged completely randomly. There's some nice fractures in it. They seem to be running north, northwest, south, southeast parallel to the edges of this dike. If you look at the geologic map of Lakeside Village quadrangle, Spears 2011, you'll see that this dike's about 250 feet wide here along Route 6. And that it runs in more or less a north-south direction. Sorry, there's a lot of traffic here. I have to keep pausing the video, but let's do our little magnet test on this rock and see if we can detect any magnetite in it. I've got my little pencil magnet here. It's dangling. I'm going to hold it up to the rock and see if it's attracted. Oh yes, yes. This rock is quite magnetic. It contains quite a bit of the mineral magnetite, which, as we discussed earlier, is one of the characteristics of this rock diabase. Here's a nice fresh surface on this broken diabase boulder, and you can see it's got this sort of fine texture, black and gray. The black minerals would be, well, the magnetite itself is black, but there's also some black chain silicates in here called pyroxenes. And then the white minerals in here would be primarily plagioclase feldspar. And this is a beautiful rock when you look at it under a microscope. The plagioclase crystals form these elongate blades that we call laths. And maybe I can get a... when I get back to the office, maybe we can look at this rock under the microscope and see some of these minerals.